to McQuivey Livin. This is episode 6. So in today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about tiny house living and how we do it and how we've done it and how we've gone from having a big house,
sticks and bricks,
to carry-ons and backpacks that we're going to travel Europe in. So first thing is how to choose a tiny house. And the second
is pros and cons of minimalism.
And then our 2 essential tools things that we have in our toolkit that we bring.
Yep. And then also combining smarts.
And we'll explain what that is. So the first thing people ask us is, how do you, with 3 teenage boys, live in a 33-foot fifth wheel? And our answer to that is...
We don't live in the fifth wheel. We use it to sleep in, to cook in, and if it's a rainy day, you're in it. But
most of our time is spent out exploring. And when we're at parks or things, we're outside. We're actually living. So it's very, very different. When we had our house in Iowa, we did spend all of our time inside. Maybe you went outside for a picnic. No, but it totally switches your lifestyle. You're actually living outside, sleeping inside.
Even here in Hawaii, we seem to be inside a lot more than we are outside.
Because the house is big. Yeah. It's air conditioned.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's 2 types of tiny homes that with the umbrella we want to put them under. And the first one is
the stationary house. So it's can be a tiny house on land, or
that you purchased to put on land, like this,
or a yurt.
Or a yurt. And then we have moving tiny houses. And so these include, under another umbrella, this is an RV.
And yeah,
so RV is, so people say, what kind of, or do you live in an RV or a fifth wheel? Well, an RV is a fifth wheel, and fifth wheels aren't. So anyway, so you have your recreational vehicle. And so under the recreational vehicle, we have
the A class, which is like the big motor homes.
Yep. And then you have your
C class. And that C class is just basically a bed over the cab.
And then you have your fifth wheel.
Fifth wheel that you pull behind your big truck.
And then people have vans.
Yep, the vans that and that's what we found out in Europe is they do a lot of, they call it caravanning, but they have vans that they live in.
Yep. And then another way to move around and travel is a tent and a pop-up. So a lot of people think that they can't start traveling until they have a fifth wheel or an A class. And that's not true. You just probably should stay to the warmer climates in the winter.
And then choose what fits for you and your family, and what you're comfortable in.
And some people do a combo. They'll get a fifth wheel that may not be big enough for their whole family, but then the older kids sleep in a
tent. Or something.
And so that you make it work. And then the other one we don't have much experience with, but we have friends who are doing it now, and it's boats. People living on boats, and that's a whole different ball of wax.
World, yeah.
We don't even know about that.
Go from island to island, port to port, just living on a boat.
So quickly, we're going to give you the small version of choosing new or old. So when we first started out, we got a brand new 2015 Keystone Cougar fifth wheel. Beautiful piece of property.
Yeah.
And long story short, we love this thing. Long story short, within 6 months,
it fell apart. It was basically falling off the axles.
Yep.
And so we had to scrap that one, and we had to go get a new one.
Yeah. So I mean, literally, it was falling off the wheels, and then the insurance guys were like, "Were you in a huge accident?" Like they couldn't understand what had happened. And we said there was nothing. We weren't in an accident because the exterior, there was no damage. Anyway, so they ended up, thank goodness for gap insurance. Get gap insurance.
If you do finance.
If you do finance, get gap insurance. And so then we ended up, so here we are in Florida, and they wouldn't give us the money back
until
they had the trailer in their possession, and we couldn't get another trailer with we still had our house on our we still had our house, and we still had
our house in Iowa that we still had on our credit report. So
we had too much, and so anyway, we ended up going and buying this used
fifth wheel
for, was it 12,000, right?
14,000.
14,000. It was 14,000. And we spent less than 1,000 completely gutting it and getting it brand new. And I love it, and I miss my trailer. So we have told people, get used.
Yeah, used is fine.
We have loved our used one. We make it our own. When you have a new one, you tend to not want to put holes in the walls or paint it or whatever. So the old ones are built like tanks, and if you can find a good one, they're great.
Yeah, 2008, prior to 2008 is where you get really good ones.
Yeah, so that's a little bit on RVs. And you just get what kind of fits you. So the things we want to talk about really quickly, we don't want to take all your time, but the pros and cons of minimalism. And so con number 1 is it can be hard to minimize your stuff if you're a stuff person.
Yeah, you just get so attached to so many things. Look around your house and see what you're attached to, and then just think, oh, if I had to choose between such and such and such and such, what could you get rid of? But the pro to it is it does get easier.
He's my little hoarder. Yeah, he likes to hold on to things. I love spring cleaning. I love throwing stuff out, and maybe things that even shouldn't have been thrown out have made it to the garbage. Okay, number 2 is there's no standard for minimalism, and so it can be confusing because we were like, what do you mean minimalism? But there's no standard. Yeah,
you decide. That's the pro. You decide and you control what you want to keep or get rid of.
So that is a huge pro. And then there's another con, is that just because you decide to embrace minimalism does not mean you don't still want stuff.
Yeah, you start to, the pro on that is value. You start placing value priorities. So
really it's kind of like, instead of going and buying 10 dresses that you sort of like at Walmart, you're going to buy one dress that you absolutely love and is a classic at the store you want. Or instead of buying a bunch of shoes for $5 and at the thrift store, then you buy the one pair that is so comfortable and that you love and that will last. So you start focusing on that value.
Another con is the immediate gratification. You give up kind of the immediate gratification aspect of your life.
But there's a pro with that, is that you get self-discipline and patience. And that is one thing that we've noticed with our kids, is they don't necessarily need everything right now, and they don't necessarily need everything.
Yeah, and it's still a learning process. So
we're not perfect.
Yeah, no, you still want that. Oh, I want it now.
I want it now, and when you say yes to one thing, you say no to another. And so we're saying yes to traveling light, so we say no to a lot of stuff.
And then also another con is there's not you don't have as many gadgets that make your life easy, such as a dishwasher. We haven't had a dishwasher for years.
We have 3 boy dishwashers.
Yeah.
But the perk to that is cleaning. I used to spend a whole Saturday morning, 3, 4, 5 hours cleaning, and that's how I spent my Saturdays, that and gardening. And now when we do a Saturday clean, when we're in our trailer, it's a half hour tops from cleaning it from top to bottom. 5 of us in there, we kick it out. And so with that, less stuff is more to do. You get more freedom, you get time freedom, you get money freedom. And that's the value of minimalism for us. So the 2 essential tools that we have even brought to Hawaii, but we're not taking to Europe.
Yeah, we're shipping them back home, Mom and Dad.
Is our Instant Pot. That thing can be used for anything.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It's amazing,
awesome.
Amazing. And you can look at recipes online.
You get whatever you want and cook anything fast and almost instantly.
Yeah.
Hence Instant Pot.
And then the number 2 thing is our Vitamix.
Our Vitamix, yeah. We use that for a lot of things.
I mean, everything from smoothies to I make my face cream with it. And so we're going to be saying goodbye to that for a little bit. Yeah. But it is lovingly wrapped to send back home.
Yeah. And for you tool guys, back in my trailer, which I couldn't bring to Hawaii, I have like my Sawzall. And you come up with all these little tools that you got to have. So
you have your gotta haves and not all the just superfluous stuff. And so the two things that we've done that will help us combine SMART is.
So the first thing we did was, well, we've been doing it we started when we were in our house in Iowa, was we put together a recipe book.
It was actually for Elijah's mission, and it still is.
Yeah, so he'll be taking that with him, so we'll have to make copies.
Yeah,
because we have all our recipes that
our favorite
family recipes that are in there, from jambalaya to
orange fluff,
and desserts, Chinese foods.
That's our baby.
Yeah.
And so we packed that baby.
It's just in a 3-ring binder. Yeah.
And so we've conglomerated all these papers and all these books and everything into one 3-ring binder. The other thing was books. I get a lot of people like, I love my books. So the first thing, if they're fictional books, oftentimes I make sure to re-gift them. And as I'm reading them, I'm thinking about someone else, so I gift it to them. Now, I have a problem with nonfiction books because I love self-help. I love learning books. I love putting my notes and everywhere. And so I was saying, how can I still keep the value and not bring the books? So what I did is I went through all my books and I copied all the notes from my books, because that's really what I hold them for anyway, is to thumb through and get the highlighted parts. And so I did that, and now it's stored on my Google Drive, and I have access to the important parts of all my books, and I don't have to carry them.
They get heavy.
They get heavy.
And in an RV, you get weight limits.
Yes, so. And on planes.
Yep, on planes.
So, okay, so we've gone over how to choose a tiny home, what kinds there are, and it's oftentimes best to choose used and to look and network, because there's some people who my mom was able to find hers for $1,000, and she traded lawn furniture for it was $1,000 and lawn furniture for a truck to haul it and the trailer. Yeah. So there are ways to do this.
Keep looking out.
And she's still living in it.
Yeah. And then we went over the pros and cons of minimalism. And it's different for everybody. So we discussed what was pros for us and cons for us.
And we will be doing a video about how to declutter and for women, especially capsule wardrobes, but I do it for my boys too, and Jared. Yeah. And that will be in future episodes. And then we talked about our essential tools. So you choose what your essential tools are, the things that you're not willing to part with.
Yeah, and that's different again for everybody. And then we did combining SMART.
Learning how to use technology for
small.
Yeah. think small, think tiny, think light.
Yeah.
So again, please subscribe and share our channel, where we're going to be doing a lot more videos. And then we're going to get somewhere we're getting Europe on the road. So it'll be pretty exciting. So you can also leave helpful comments, suggestions, or questions that you might have, and we can answer them or be grateful that you shared some extra tips with us and use them on future episodes. So we will see you later.
Bye-bye. Bye.